Let's bring in CBS News senior political editor Steve Chaggaris. He joins us now from our Washington bureau. So, Steve, let me start by getting your big picture takeaways from the evening. What was the president trying to accomplish, and how well did he do in getting there?
Well, it's interesting. You know, we heard all about how he was going to try to have a positive tone in this speech, and we've heard him in White House officials say that before, and it never really sort of panned out. Well, this one really did. At least for one night, he sounded positive. He seemingly recognized the power of his office, and really transitioned that over-the-top controversial campaign rhetoric into a sort of outline to govern. It was really interesting to watch, and frankly, we had a poll that polled viewers, and viewers agreed. 82% thought he sounded presidential, and 76% strongly or somewhat approved of the speech. So it seems like it was a home run for him.
And it was certainly a unifying speech. He really reached out in a way he hasn't before, even on the campaign trail. But Steve, ultimately, do you think there was anything in that speech that Democrats could really get behind?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, he has helped create this sort of hyper-partisan, hyper-polarized situation in Washington, and you saw Democrats during the speech not too enthusiastic about the things he was saying. There might have been a couple of things in there they feel they might be able to work with him on, whether it's infrastructure spending, whether it's ways to improve child care. But, Democrats right now are not really excited about working with a guy who, it seems seemingly at every turn, insults them and is not seemingly interested in what they have to say about things. Now, what's interesting is if Trump can continue this tone and Trump continues with this sort of change or this shift that he started last night, if this isn't just a one-night speech, it's going to put Democrats in an interesting position because, as you saw, viewers did react positively to Trump's demeanor last night. So, again, Democrats will have to be more than just the party in no if this is a permanent shift for Trump. If he goes back to what he was doing during the campaign and in the beginning of his administration, I think Democrats can continue with the way they've sort of been going against him, and they might be able to not have to work with him, I think, and be successful.
Let's share with our viewers our new CBS News poll out this morning that shows that President Trump gained support for policy plans on the economy, immigration, terrorism, crime, and health care last night. So, Steve, how does he cash in on some of the political capital he seems to have bought himself with this speech?
Yeah, these numbers are really interesting, and again, we have to caution this is one speech in one night, and we've got a couple of years of Donald Trump as a politician that is sort of counter to what we saw at this speech. So one way for him to cash in is to continue acting the way he did last night. It's very clear that the viewers of that speech reacted positively to his temperament and his tone. And so if that's something that he'll continue with, then perhaps that will help him as he continues to govern during this presidency. Also, it gives Republicans in Congress a bit of cover. They have now a bit of a roadmap from Trump. They now have, it's seemingly, some support from Americans to move forward with these ideas that Trump is putting out there. So it gives Republicans in Congress a bit of political capital. Again, if Trump continues with this tone and temperament, if he continues with what he was doing before, who knows where Americans will be in the next few days or weeks.
And one of those issues that the president addressed, we know that he spoke with TV network anchors yesterday ahead of the speech. And there was a major change in his stance on immigration when he spoke to those anchors. Can you tell us a little bit of what was said in that meeting and also where he's going on immigration now?
Yeah, I would caution calling it a major change. Trump has sort of been everywhere on the immigration issue during the last year and a half. I mean, he gets out there publicly at his rallies, and you heard him during the speech last night publicly take a hard line on immigration.
But this was the first time, Steve, that we've heard him say something like this, saying that he is for providing what is essentially amnesty, even though they don't like to use that term.
Okay, so what he said was that he's willing to compromise on immigration, which is something that he has said before, and he did say in this meeting with anchors that he potentially will look for a way to help those children who are brought here illegally find a path to citizenship. Now, that was a sort of caveated. He has hinted at that before. But again, this is not something he talks about regularly, and it wasn't referenced in his speech last night. So the question is, how serious is Trump about that? It's something that he said in a luncheon with news anchors, but is it something that he's going to take onto the stump, and is it something that he's going to push Congress to do? We don't know the answers to that question yet, but it is notable because it is a softer stance than he has really sort of shown on the stump and during the campaign. So we'll see where he goes with this, but again, it's not the first time he's taken a softer stance. He's just not necessarily consistent with staying with that softer stance.
Steve, staying on that theme, we were expecting to see a revised travel ban signed today. Now we're hearing that no executive order will be signed today. Any indication as to why?
Well, one reason is, and as our Margaret Brennan reported, they're still sort of tweaking this. It looks like that possibly Iraq will be taken off the banned list, and as Major Garrett reported, that other countries may be added to that list. So they're clearly still tweaking this. But it's also been reported that they want to bask in the glow of this speech that he gave last night. I mean, this is a president and a candidate who really can shift the news cycle really quickly, and it's not often they get such positive response to something that he's done. I think it's pretty clear they want to bask in the glow of this for a little bit, keep the executive order for another day, and enjoy the fruits of what happened during this speech last night.
All right, Steve Chaggaris in Washington. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.